All right, so the half-yearly exam is looming, and the enemy is on the paper. You know you can't just hide behind a quick summary. These exams are designed to test the specifics, like, can you explain exactly why Sado hesitates on that beach? And if that question makes you a little nervous, you're not alone.
Yep, if that little voice of panic sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place. The stress is real, but we can totally manage it. The secret isn't about memorizing every single page. It's about knowing where to focus your energy.
So, we're going to get strategic. We're not just skimming the plot. Nope, we are going to master the foundational scenes, lock in the core themes, and break down the exact type of questions you're about to face. No fluff, just the stuff you absolutely need to know to score well.
Let's start with what I like to call the master key to this entire chapter. Seriously, almost every single question an examiner can throw at you comes back to this one thing: Dr. Sadao's internal conflict. If you can master this, everything else just clicks into place.
So let's paint the picture, right? We've got Dr. Sadao, he's a brilliant Japanese surgeon, and it's happening during World War II. Then one day, bam, an American prisoner of war, the literal enemy, washes up on the shore right outside his house, and he is badly, badly hurt.
And this, right here, is where the whole story just ignites. You've got these two massive forces tearing Sadao apart. On one side, he's a doctor. His training is so deep that his hands just instinctively move to stop the bleeding. It's his duty. But on the other side, he's a Japanese citizen in the middle of a war. His patriotism is screaming at him that this man is the enemy. And, this quote from Sadao himself just perfectly captures his struggle. He actually says to his wife Hana that, look, if the guy were healthy, he wouldn't even think twice. But because he's wounded, his doctor's oath just takes over. This one line is the absolute key to understanding his whole character.
Okay, now for a crucial tip. I want you to listen closely to this. Examiners love to build their questions around 3 specific moments in this story. These are the scenes you have to know inside and out, no exceptions.
First up, the discovery on the beach. This is what sets up the entire conflict. Second, that incredibly chilling conversation with the general, which really dives into the theme of authority. And third, the escape, which is basically the resolution to Sadao's whole dilemma. Let's just zoom in on that conversation with the general for a second. His offer to just casually send his private assassins over is, well, it's shocking. It shows you his main concern isn't Japan's security, it's his own health. This scene is a classic for exam questions because it tests if you can spot the irony and satire. The general is the perfect example of a selfish, morally corrupt leader. And all of this builds up into the story's main themes. As you can see, humanity is the big one, right? It's the dominant force. In the end, Sadao's compassion as a human being and a doctor wins out over his nationalism. And the general's self-interest just highlights Sadao's moral choice even more.
All right, let's switch gears and decode the exam itself. Knowing the story is half the battle, but knowing how they're going to test you on it, well, that's the key to really acing it.
Now, please pay close attention here because this is so important. Your half-yearly exam is not the same as your final board exam. For now, the name of the game is recall. Can you explain what happened? Can you identify who said what? Can you describe why a character did something? Don't even worry about comparing the enemy to Indigo or any other text. That's a problem for March. Right now, your focus needs to be laser sharp on this story and this story alone. This table basically breaks down what to expect. Your 1-mark MCQs are all about the facts. Did you remember the details? The 2-mark short answers test your comprehension. Can you explain the why behind an event? And those 5-mark long answers, that's where they test your analysis. Can you really discuss Sadao's dilemma and use quotes from the text to back it up?
And here's a huge tip for your MCQs. Those extract-based questions, they are almost always pulled from these key scenes. The discovery on the beach and the general's twisted proposal are the 2 biggest hotspots. When you're revising, I want you to reread those specific pages until you know them cold. Okay, we're in the home stretch. Let's get you some practical, hands-on tools that you can use in your final hours of revision to really lock all this information into your brain.
Here's a super simple mnemonic to remember the plot sequence. Just remember the name Hana. It starts with Sadao's hesitation, moves to dealing with the American POW, then the nurses and servants revolting, and finally, the assassins being offered by the general. It's just a simple way to keep the main events straight in your head.
And these are the 3 quotes you absolutely have to recognize and be able to explain. The first one basically defines the entire moral dilemma.
The second one exposes the general for the hypocrite he is. And that third one, Sadao's final question to himself, that confirms the story's ultimate theme: humanity wins.
And hey, don't sleep on the vocabulary. Using precise words in your answers, like pallor to describe the soldier's sickly appearance, or repulsion to explain Hana's first reaction, will make your answers so much stronger. It shows the examiner you have a really deep understanding of the text.
Okay, deep breath, let's bring it all home. My goal here is for you to walk away from this feeling not panicked, but confident, because you absolutely 100% have got this.
I want you to think of this exam not as some big, scary mystery, but just as a checkpoint. All it's doing is testing your understanding of one character's incredible, complicated moral journey. If you can explain Sadao's choices and the conflict that fueled them, you are on the right track.
So if you start to feel overwhelmed in these last few hours, just bring it all back to these 3 pillars. 1. Master those 3 foundational scenes we talked about. 2. Really get Sadao's conflict between humanity and nationality. And 3. Be ready to explain the motivations of Sadao, Hana, and the general. That is your solid foundation for success.
I'll leave you with the story's final powerful question. At the end, Sadao wondered why he couldn't kill his enemy. That question isn't just about him. It's for all of us. In a world that so often demands that we pick a side, maybe his story is telling us that our shared humanity is the most powerful side we can ever choose. Good luck on the exam. You're ready.